Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to AM News on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Sadia Yakubu. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV, channel 365 and Star Times, channels 276. And now the news in details. Vice President Kashim Shettima has commissioned the Tudunbiri Resettlement Scheme in Kaduna State, marking the fulfillment of a pledge by Bola Tinubu to rebuild the community affected by a military drone mishap nearly 2 years ago. The scheme, located in Tudunbiri community of Igabi local government area, comprises 133 completed housing units, educational facilities and other modern infrastructure delivered under the resettlement scheme for persons impacted by conflict. The Vice President recalled that he visited the community in December 2023 following the incident and assured residents that President Tinubu had directed the immediate commencement of a resettlement program. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has applied for an order of the National Industrial Court to commit the striking workers of the Federal Capital Territory Administration to prison over their alleged disobedience to court order. The alleged disobedience to order of court by the workers arose from resumption of their strike, despite an order of the court issued on January 27, stopping the strike until the termination of the suit instituted against them by the FCT minister to demonstrate his opposition against the workers for threatening orders of the industrial court with levity. Wike has obtained Form 48, a legal document of a court, which spells out the consequences of violation order of court to be observed on striking workers. Following growing concerns over declining services and worsening infrastructure on key rail corridors, the Senate has set up an ad hoc committee to probe the award and execution of rail contracts across the nation. The decision was taken after lawmakers raised alarm over disruptions on the Kano-Kaduna rail line. National Assembly correspondent Anita Patrick completes the story.
The resolution followed the points of order raised by Senator Abdul Ningi, who drew the Senate's attention to what he described as the tragic decline in operations on the Kano-Kaduna rail corridor. He told the chamber that passenger services on the routes have dropped to just one trip per day, while cargo movement time has nearly doubled.
While the railway was working on full capacity, they were, of course, creating a revenue of close to 1.8 billion monthly. The story I'm about to reel out, Mr. President, that at this moment, there is no live cargo except one.
Supporting the concern, Senator Adamu Alero said persistent bandit attacks have caused extensive damage to rail facilities, contributing significantly to the reduction in train operations.
It is true that the number of trips has dropped drastically from 5 to only 1. And this is simply because the bandits have damaged the truck.
However, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, dismissed claims that inadequate funding was the primary challenge, insisting that poor quality infrastructure and substandard execution of contracts were at the heart of the problem. He stressed the need for a thorough legislative investigation into how railway projects were designed, awarded, and implemented.
We had set up a committee under you to look into this railway system. Look at the red tracks, look at the coaches and everything, and why they were failing. And why it would take, like he said, 3.5 hours for something that should take 25 minutes to Kaduna by the modern railway standard.
The Senate says the ad hoc committee will examine railway project designs, funding patterns, execution standards, and maintenance frameworks, with a view to restoring efficiency and safety across Nigeria's rail network. From the National Assembly, Anita Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
The Armed Forces of Nigeria says it has recorded major operational successes across the country, neutralizing terrorists, dismantling illegal oil facilities, arresting hundreds of criminal elements, and rescuing kidnapped victims in coordinated operations nationwide. The update was given by the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Michael Onoja, during the monthly operational briefing in Abuja. Defense correspondent Kikelomo Okere has details.
The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Michael Onoja, disclosed that troops working with air assets and other security agencies dismantled 53 illegal refining sites, neutralizing scores of terrorists, arrested over 450 suspects, and rescued more than 250 kidnapped victims across the country within the period under review.
With illegal refining activities in the Niger Delta region, the air component of Operation Delta Safe conducted armed reconnaissance missions over Bakana and Abuloma towns. During the mission, it was observed that a large-sized barge was siphoning petroleum products. The target was acquired and engaged accordingly.
In the northeast, Major General Onoja says troops of Operation Adinkai sustained aggressive ground and air operations against Boko Haram, ISWAP, and JAS elements across Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe states. Between January 1 and 29, scores of terrorists were neutralized, 74 suspects arrested, 40 kidnapped victims rescued, while 44 terrorists and their families surrendered. It further reels out that in the southeast, Operation Udoka saw over 80 militants surrendered, dozens arrested, and kidnapped victims rescued, alongside a noted reduction in criminal activities across the region.
44 terrorists and their family members surrendered to troops during the month under review. Interestingly, 5 terrorist top commanders and 3 of their lieutenants were neutralized during firefights within the region.
The achievement recorded in January 2026, Major General Onoja says, cut across all theaters of operations and underlined the military's sustained push to restore peace, protect lives, and secure critical national assets. The Military High Command assures that pressure will be sustained on criminal elements nationwide with stronger interagency collaboration and community engagement. Kikelomo Okere, Global Television News.
The Nigerian Customs Service Port and Terminal Multi-Services Limited Command has handed over seized arms and ammunition to the National Center for Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons, reaffirming its commitment to border security, trade facilitation, and interagency collaboration. Speaking at the handover ceremony in Lagos, the Customs Area Comptroller Joe Anani said the exercise underscored customs' zero tolerance for smuggling and its resolve to ensure that only legitimate trade thrives within Nigeria's border. Anani noted that the handover was carried out with the approval of the Comptroller General of Customs, Bashir Adewale Adeni, under whose leadership the seizures were made. The Federal High Court in Ibadan has nullified the People's Democratic Party's national convention held on November 15, 2025 in Ibadan, Oyo State. The court also barred Kabiru Turaki and others from presenting themselves as national officers of the party, dealing a significant blow to faction that emerged from the convention. The court's decision follows ongoing leadership disputes within the party, which have led to competing factions and legal battles over the party's national leadership and internal processes. Meanwhile, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory Nyesom Wike, backed National Caretaker Committee of the People's Democratic Party, has welcomed the Federal High Court ruling affirming its legitimacy as the party's leadership, while calling on all members to embrace unity, reconciliation, and adherence to due process. The Abdurrahman Mohammed-led PDP Caretaker Committee, through a statement by the National Publicity Secretary, reaffirmed that the party's legitimacy stems only from adherence to its constitution, laws, and valid court orders, not from unlawful claims or impersonation. In a related development, the Kabiru Turaki-led National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party has maintained that it remains the party's only lawful leadership despite a recent judgment by the Federal High Court in Ibadan. In a statement, the party said it has briefed its legal team on the ruling and will await the outcome of proceedings at the appellate court, urging members to remain steadfast in effort to reposition and rebuild the PDP. Nigeria and Saudi Arabia have moved to deepen bilateral cooperation in housing development, construction, technology, and local building materials manufacturing following high-level talks on the sidelines of the 2026 Real Estate Future Reform in Riyadh. Minister of Housing and Urban Development Ahmed Dengiwa held a bilateral meeting with Saudi Arabia's Minister of Municipal and Rural Affairs and Housing Majid bin Abdullah, where both sides explore areas of strategic collaboration to attract private capital and accelerate large-scale housing delivery in Nigeria. At the meeting, Dengiwa presented Nigeria's Renewed Hope Housing Program, describing it as a flagship intervention designed to deliver homes at scales across income segments through structured public-private partnership. You're watching the live broadcast of AM News. When AM News returns, after this weather report, plus business, foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.
Thank you for joining us. Here is a look at the weather outlook as we head into Saturday. Dust haze remained the dominant weather condition across the northern cities and the north-central region. However, higher concentration of dust particles are expected over parts of Taraba, Plateau, Kaduna, the Federal Capital Territory, and Niger State. While visibility is not expected to be significantly reduced, individuals with respiratory conditions are advised to take necessary precautions. And across the southern region, morning thunderstorms are likely over parts of Akwa Ibom, with more widespread thunderstorm activities expected across Ondo, Edo, Bayelsa, Cross River, Akwa Ibom, and River State. And that's the weather forecast. I am Akemi Samada.
From that short break, in business news, the federal government has expressed determination to overhaul Nigeria's cooperative sector through full digitalization. These in a bid to improve transparency, governance, and access to economic opportunities for millions of Nigerians. The plan was unveiled in Abuja at a stakeholders meeting reviewing the Nigerian Cooperative Societies Act. Our correspondent Anita Patrick reports.
Nigeria's over 30,000 registered cooperative societies may soon operate a modern digital framework as the federal government intensifies efforts to reposition the sector as a key driver of inclusive economic growth. Speaking at a stakeholders meeting in Abuja, the Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Aliu Abdullahi, said digitalization will transform cooperative operations, ensure transparency in financial reporting, and strengthen trust among members.
The Cooperative Societies Act is one of the most efficient and critical legislations that govern the cooperative sector in Nigeria. It defines how we organize, regulate, supervise, promote, protect, and strengthen the cooperative movement.
According to him, cooperatives, when properly structured, can serve as powerful tools for capital mobilization, job creation, poverty reduction, and agricultural productivity. He said the key components of the reform include digital registration, a national cooperative database, electronic membership, identification, and improved filing and reporting systems. The minister also disclosed that a harmonized national document aligned with continental cooperative laws and declarations will soon be finalized, with international partners joining the reform process. The President, Cooperative Federation of Nigeria, Hanatu Mashek, noted that the initiative would boost confidence in cooperatives and unlock new opportunities across the sector.
By taking depositors' money, it means you have gone outside the cooperative principle. So this time around, the cooperative bank must align to the cooperative identity. That's the only thing. Anything outside it, we're not going to get it.
With agriculture and community enterprise at the heart of Nigeria's economic diversification drive, the federal government believes a digitally empowered cooperative system could become a major catalyst for shared prosperity. From Abuja, Anieti Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
A civil society organization, Independent, had reported has petitioned President Bola Tinubu over the Central Bank of Nigeria's directive mandating the use of automated teller machine codes for the disbursement of basic travel allowance to pilgrims for the 2026 Hajj. In the letter dated January 17, 2026 and signed by its national coordinator Ibrahim Muhammad, the group urged the president to intervene, warning that the policy could expose pilgrims to undue hardship. The organization noted that about 70% of Nigerian pilgrims are from rural areas with limited access to electronic banking services, adding that language barriers in Saudi Arabia and possible transaction failures could result in financial losses. The Nigerian Independent System Operator has described the ongoing 350 megawatts NNPC's Abuja Gas Independent Power Project as a vital step towards achieving the national target of 8,500 megawatt grid generation capacity by the end of this year, a position announced by the managing director of the entity, Engineer Abdul Bello, during an on-site assessment visit to the project location. Leading a high-level management delegation, he evaluated the current stage of construction and identified key areas for enhanced collaboration to accelerate project completion and timely commissioning. The team expressed confidence that before the end of 2026, the full electricity value chain from generation through transmission to distribution enable real-time visibility, improved grid monitoring, and enhanced system reliability and stability. And on the foreign scene, Iran has threatened to instantly strike U.S. bases and aircraft carrier in response to an attack after United States President Donald Trump warned time was running out for Tehran to make a nuclear deal, and the UAE blacklists its Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist organization. Iran's military spokesman, Brigadier General Mohammad Akramina, told state television that United States aircraft carriers have seriously vulnerabilities and the numerous U.S. military assets in the Gulf region are within the range of 4 medium-range missiles. United States President Donald Trump says Russia's Vladimir Putin has agreed to a personal request to halt attacks on Kyiv and other Ukrainian cities after a Moscow strike left millions without heating during an extreme cold snap. Trump's claims have come as Russia's strike on Ukraine's power infrastructure have disrupted light, heating and water supplies, with temperatures plummeting and leaving the war-battled country facing a fresh humanitarian crisis. The Kremlin did not immediately confirm any truth as Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky thanked Trump and said he is counting on Washington to secure and pause in attack. And in sports, Kano Pillars forward and general manager Ahmed Musa has sent a message of hope to club's fan base as they continue their fight to escape relegation in the 2025-2026 Nigerian Premier Football League season. Musa scored the decisive goal as Kano Pillars boosted their survival hopes with 1-0 win over Northwest rival Katsina United. It was the former Super Eagles captain's third goal of the season in 14 appearances, and it proved enough to secure the club's 8th win of the campaign after 23 matches. Nigerian senior men handball team, the Golden Arrows, kept their 2027 IHF Men's World Cup Championship dream alive with a Navy 30-28 victory over Guinea in Thursday's 5-8 place semi-final at the 27th African Men's Handball Championship in Kigali, Rwanda. The playoff encounter, that determined Africa's fifth representative at the next year World Cup Championship in Germany, saw the Golden Arrows demonstrate remarkable resilience after being reduced to 6 men in the first half following Farouk Yusuf red card dismissal. Playing a man down for the bulk of the contest, Nigerians still managed to establish a 16-14 advantage at the halftime and held the nerve after the start to repel Guinea comeback attempt. And that's it on AM News. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across all the social media platforms now showing on your screen using at Global TV NG. I am Sadia Yakubu. Thank you for watching.